All right, welcome to the Life of a Marketer podcast. And today I've got, for the first time, an Australian on my podcast. So I'm super excited, and I love Melissa's accent. So Melissa, welcome to the Life of a Marketer podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be talking to other entrepreneurs that own marketing companies, marketing professionals that are coming up in the ranks, and of course, those leaders that are leading teams.
Awesome, thank you. So take it away, Melissa. Tell us about what you do. Tell us about what you're all about.
Yeah, well, I have many hats, and I think a lot of marketers feel the same way. Whether you're a junior marketer that's starting out and you're, doing content and you're doing advertising and you're doing social media, you're wearing many hats. I think when you get to the top, it's probably amplified in a lot of ways. I have three different companies that are across marketing. My first company I started at 25 years of age. And that company has morphed into being very much a publishing company. So we publish 6 editorials. We do, build job boards, and we do everything around media and publishing, which is really an interesting space because marketing really does morph into that area. My other company, Marketing Eye, very well known globally, has offices around the world. And what that company does is it's an outsourced marketing department. So if you're a small to medium sized business, it provides that marketing resource. And, our marketers do everything from strategy to implementation. So we have people that are marketers, we have public relations people, journalists, we have graphic designers, web developers, all of those different disciplines all on staff. And it really just produces that team, which helps small businesses be able to have really great marketing programs in place. 5 years ago, I took all of that experience, just a bit of background. I've got 30 years experience in marketing.
Oh, wow.
So I've been in the industry a long time, which, really, when you start off with typewriters and you go all the way through to where we are today, it's a fairly quantum leap because of technology and developments.
Yeah,
And so I
you
built
see it all come into play. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so I realized that one of the shortfalls that marketing departments have, or even entrepreneurs that have small businesses, is the development of strategy. If I look at my teams over the years, our marketers are always really strong at one or two different areas of marketing, but rarely are they strong across the entire marketing mix. And so when they develop a strategy, they develop it based on their expertise and their experience. Potentially, they look at a couple of different applications, like what's happening in email marketing, and they might look at some resources to do with benchmarking and what they should be at in terms of open rates and click-through rates, or traffic to their website, or conversion rates. But they're not able to gather all that information that we have out there in the universe, or particularly on the internet, or they're not able to benefit from machine learning and what past strategies have worked and what have failed. And so I got a team together. They all work under my umbrella of Robotic Marketer, and they developed an AI software that automates the development of marketing strategy. So no different to when you're using a CRM program. You put in some information and out spits a 50-page marketing strategy that tells you exactly what you need to do based on what your company's business objectives are, the sales forecast, what conversion rates you need, how many leads you need in your pipeline, and your resources and budget. Brings all this information together and really looks at, well, what are we trying to achieve as the business, and how do we actually achieve that, and what marketing tactics do we need to deploy. And it really is this amazing technology that really, if you're a marketer, it takes you about a month to put together a proper marketing strategy.
Right.
This technology does it in 38 minutes. And it does it better than what I can do. So, this has been my bread and butter for 30 years, and yet this piece of technology, or AI, does it better. So it's a really interesting company, because it actually, changes the game for marketers. It allows them to spend more time doing what they love doing. And it's the future. And we know that because, with the release in December of Chat GPT, we're all talking about how AI is really
Sure.
changing our landscape. Yeah. So, they're the things that I do. I spend most of my time in my tech company because that's the most exciting right now. If we're thinking about marketing, technology is really at the forefront.
It's absolutely amazing, Melissa. I'm speechless to hear that you have. It's amazing how you jumped on that technology when it's really just sort of been developing very recently and have got something working like that. It's so impressive. Um,
It, it,
you just killed someone's job. That
I think it makes people's jobs better. Who wants to spend 1 month doing, a strategy when you could be doing creative things and just working to your strengths? A lot of marketers, and I'm one of these people, I procrastinate. So this kind of takes away that procrastination. This helps you, move forward, develop a strategy, and start implementing it. And I've been playing a lot in the last month with OpenAI, and you procrastinate about writing a blog or writing an email marketing campaign or writing a proposal. And all of a sudden, these technologies are doing it for you, and you're just adding value. You're making it better. You're making it more personalized, and it just
right,
is so much more fulfilling, because when you accomplish something, it feels great, right?
right, right.
And so it's allowing people to accomplish more in their day, and I think that's extremely exciting.
Yeah, I mean the time element is just like we do ads, and getting the like YouTube ads ready, and the sooner that you can start launching the ads, it's
Yeah,
the more money you're going to save. The quicker the business is going to be able to start to get leads and get those leads turned
yeah.
around and turned to cash. Saving time is so valuable in business, and that the technology you mentioned, I'm so interested in it. I hope we can talk some more about it in the future. So it's kind of changing gears a little bit after having talked about that. What's the best thing for you about being in the marketing industry?
I think the marketing industry is one of the most exciting careers to be in. I kind of feel sorry for the marketers that are just finishing their degrees today, because everything they've learned at university is going to change when they get out in the real world. But for me, everything changes every day. If I look at my entire team globally, we've just started back at work in the last couple of days, and we're changing our jobs. Like all of a sudden, we left in December with the same job we'd been doing for 12 months. But we're starting in January and our job's not the same. It's completely and utterly changed. And it's that whole reinvention. And I think marketing is this constant reinvention. When I started out, it was so much slower because we weren't using technology the way that we use it today, or there wasn't a metaverse and there wasn't AI and machine learning and all these really creative, cool things, virtual reality, augmented reality. There's so many really cool things that are happening. And for marketers that are, starting out their career, the sky's the limit. And they can create the future direction of marketing. And that's extremely exciting to be in. Another really great thing about marketing is, for me, I use both sides of my brain. I get to be creative. And I love that. Who doesn't love to be creative? Even if you're not even good at it, you're constantly pushing yourself, right? And that is exciting. And then on the other side, marketing is all about data. And so it's about analytics and it's about being strategic. And so you get to use all of these different skills on a daily basis. And I don't think there's a lot of careers out there that really offers that diversity and the fact that you'll never be doing the same thing day after day. And with marketing, I think for that reason solely, it is one of the most exciting careers for anyone to go into.
what sort of advice do you offer to people that are in marketing, in the marketing industry right now?
Well, I think the first piece of advice, and it's something that I wish I'd followed sooner at the start of my career, is change. Be open to change. Be open to being flexible, to being nimble, to everything you've learned, to be able to scrap that and start again on something new. You know, whether it's new technologies, new ways of doing things, new methodologies, new ways of operating in a very new world. You know, the whole cancel culture. We used to have ads running that are no longer politically correct. And if they were running today, they would be cancelled. But it's that ability to constantly change and to be open to change. When Facebook first came out, I remember there was no way in hell that I was getting on Facebook. I thought it was ridiculous. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, I realized that it has to be part of everyone's marketing strategy. But I was a slow adopter, but then I turned around and became a fast adopter of everything else because I learned my lesson. And so that's constant learning and development. Also, you know, doing courses, although you learn a lot at university, you don't really learn the things you need to be an operational marketing professional. And so doing courses on, you know, how to use Facebook, how to use YouTube, you know, what is virtual reality? What is the metaverse? How do we develop a marketing strategy for the metaverse? All these different things that are really at the forefront today. You're not learning them in the depth that you need to understand to be able to take that platform or take that methodology or process to that next level by being creative, by executing campaigns, and by understanding your target audience more deeply. And I think that's really important if you're a young marketer out there, to be able to constantly have a curious mindset will make you more successful. It will make you stand out from the crowd. The second thing is discipline. I think this new age era, discipline's kind of been thrown out the window. And I think moving forward, if you want to climb the ranks in an organization, you need to show discipline. And discipline is about having structure around what you do. I hopped on TikTok last night and I went down a vortex. 3 hours later, I'm still on TikTok. And I'm like, wow, I just wasted 3 hours. That is so easy to do. And when you have, you know, 10, 20, 30 marketers in a room, it's easy for them to go down a vortex. So if you have discipline, you go, okay, I'm going to spend 10 minutes on this. I'm going to spend an hour on this. It allows you to be able to perform at a better level. If I give somebody a day to write a blog, it will take them in a full day. If I give them 1 hour, it will take them 1 hour. If I give them open AI, it will take them 15 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So this is the selfish question we do on this podcast. What other successful people in marketing that like yourself would you like to acknowledge that should be on this podcast?
I think I've been using a platform lately called from a lady by the name of Nicole Donnelly, and the platform is really a psych profiling called Emotionality, and she has maybe 20 years experience in marketing. So I'm interested in what she has to say anyway, because anyone with experience, they've learned some lessons, they've evolved hopefully, and they keep on coming out with new things. They're able to use those learnings that they've had to bring new ideas into the future. And she developed a software that is all around the emotional intelligence of individuals. In marketing teams, the marketing industry as a whole has a high rate of mental health challenges. And largely, I think there's a lot of pressure around performance, and there's a lot of pressure around what you need to be doing. If you do an ad campaign, for instance, and it fails, then there's pressure associated with that. I think gone are the days where people are expected to work long hours. So that's, I think, a huge positive. But Emotionality, I get my team to do this this quiz, I suppose, on a regular basis, because I want to understand, well, how does their emotional intelligence affect their performance? And if you measure that and you get them more aware of, if they're having a good day or a bad day, this is what they should be doing from a work perspective because they're more productive, or they achieve more, or they have more enjoyment. And enjoyment's really important. So if you can get your team to enjoy what they do and to become passionate about it, and to find going to work each day and the tasks they're doing as a joyful experience, it actually changes the game for them. It makes them happier people. If people are happier outside and inside the office, it makes them higher productivity. So how does that fit into marketing? It's everything. If we're creative and our mind's clear and we have space to think, we create amazing things. If we're all cluttered and our brain is, clustered with so many pressures and stress and the way that we deal with things, it will impact our performance. So, marketing, I think, has a lot to do with psychology, mental health, and emotionality, emotional intelligence. And if you can get that right, you can be more successful.
Awesome. Thanks for
so
that.
Nicole Donnelly, emotionality. She's great.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to check. Well, we're going to check that out, obviously. All right. So one final question, just for fun. What is the oldest technology you can remember using?
Commodore 64.
All right.
So now I'm really showing my age. We got a Commodore 64 at home. I looked at it for a day, couldn't work it out, and it went into the back of the cupboard. Back then we had cupboards. I don't feel like people have them so much these days. My second one was a typewriter. I learned to type on a typewriter. Best skill you can ever have, because you think about it, our whole life is about typing, right? So that was a great skill to have. I advanced to an electric typewriter, and then eventually an Apple Mac. But I think we had Apple Macs at school, but it did nothing else other than you could type, and that was it. So, from there, obviously we got into better, PCs and all the rest of it. But what an interesting thing that happened to me in my career is I had a boss, and he was probably about 70 years of age at the time. He came out to me in my office in his company, and he said, Mellissah, I know you send these faxes out, like I used to send press releases by fax. And I used to also just meeting stuff. If he had something really confidential, he didn't want other people to see, he might say, hey, Mellissah, can you fax this out to 6 people? And he said, Mellissah, I've heard about this thing called email. You can send it to everyone all at once. And I thought, that is ridiculous. He's off with the fairies. And I remember literally thinking that, and he kept on coming back to me. Every couple of weeks he'd say, there's definitely this thing called email. You've got to check it out. I didn't check it out. A year later, I'm working in the technology industry. I get this computer put in front of me. And not only do we have email, we have this thing called a website. And what an amazing, and I was like, I don't know how to use this, and I didn't really want to use it. And I thought, I wanted to go back to my faxing. And then, eventually it became our norm. But, I was a slow adopter of technology, and now I'm a fast adopter. But, I was a really slow adopter. But it's interesting how technology has evolved and how more receptive people are to technology today than they were in the earlier stages.
Sure. All right, Mellissah, well, we keep our podcast short. I wish that if I'd known that you were such a good interviewee, I would have allotted more time for our podcast, but you were a great guest. Thanks for jumping on. This is, we're going to end here. This is the Life of a Marketer podcast. We're on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can catch us on, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We release it on our YouTube channel. And we also will stream it via LinkedIn and other social medias where you can find it. Mellissah, thanks so much for being on. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure.